capital needs are enormous. And if you rely on a simple mechanism, in my opinion, to say, okay, earmark $10 billion a year starting in 2020 for developing countries, because they're the big polluters according to Richard Muller. In other words, the problem is coal plants in India and China and in Bulgaria, not necessarily in the cars of the United States of America. That's his theory. I'm not sure he's right, but he's saying, you know, we have the greatest thing with our gas, and you know, this administration likes gas too. So, you know, I don't know, but
so if you were to apply the same concept that I'm talking about on construction, you would say to the homeowner, you're going to have to spend more money and energy to store water quality on your site. So in the case of the homeowner, it might be you need to plant trees, and that might be a great solution. Or if you have no space to plant trees, you could help plant trees somewhere else. But it's going to be an additional amount on top of current taxes. It's not, oh, you don't have to pay this other tax instead. You have this additional responsibility now that wasn't there before.
yeah, but I don't think a lot of people have the money to
We don't.
right, so that was where I was trying to find, and that gets back to, what was your name again? Brendan, sorry. That gets back to the Chris idea that you're talking about, where what we're finding is a lot of ESCOs, you know, energy service companies, are starting to do nothing down financing and sucking out, you know, a good portion of the tax savings for 2-3 years until their equipment is paid for. So basically, there are low-hanging fruit. CHP is low-hanging fruit. Windows, insulation, all low-hanging fruit. Maybe lighting, maybe some of those things. When it comes to raising mechanicals in a flood zone, that's hard. So, but it comes back to the community effort. In other words, if the community is agreed that this is a problem and sea level rise is a problem in that municipality, then you have to work together to get the balance. And I think it would be worth it to do the mechanical rise, because the insurance companies are going to benefit, and maybe that insurance company is FEMA, National Flood Insurance, so it's the federal government. So maybe they'd be more likely to give a big credit to allow that. Maybe it won't be a subsidy in the end. Maybe it'll be some sort of transfer of credits if that's what they want to do. But I think what I liked about my idea was the ability to raise large sums of money quickly and not go through. It's a bear of a thing to get something approved legislative-wise, but if the general public said, you know, we're in agreement that we want this, and I don't know how you do this, but I know I need a lobbyist to do it, because I developed a new word, corporatocracy, okay? And I tried to get it in the New York Times. I haven't heard back from them, so maybe they don't want to do it, but that is really what we are in. It's corporations mandate legislation. So, you know, so I think that's where I took my idea, which was really grassroots. It was originally for the guy who's not making very much money, and he could put $25 in, and he could do exactly what you said. It could be for his home. That $25 would go directly to his home. And then when we started to really go through vagaries of this situation, is big money has to be involved. It's too big a problem. It's not going to be done at the $25 level alone. It would be nice if the $25 level could get a direct impact, but I don't think it'll be done at the homeowner level, because I don't think anybody can agree on the homeowner level. I think that's the problem.
Hey, Eric, I just wanted to jump in, because weren't you saying the states were really important? You said West Virginia, Oklahoma, etc. I mean, in your plan, are you thinking that the state agencies would go to the NGO to apply for funding? I guess I'm wondering, how would this be equitably distributed among the 50 states?
Equitably distributed would be according to who in the state invested in the credit, right? So if nobody in Oklahoma invested in the credit, I don't think they should get any funds. It would really be state-driven.
Oh, you're saying this is all voluntary? In terms of if I designate
Well,
is there a check off on my tax return?
Getting back to your idea, you know, if you invested in this fund, it's going into your state.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's got to go into your state. So in that sense, it is directed towards that. There's no, The only idea was the big international idea, which is a federal idea. That was for developing countries. That's totally different than locally or nationally. It would all be state-driven. So this fund, let's say $100 million went into Maryland, because the taxpayers of Maryland, companies and individuals, not-for-profits, contributed $100 million. Suddenly Maryland has $100 million to augment programs like the one you were talking about. And I think augmenting is, remember, I'm just trying to fund gaps.
But they've taken $100 million away from education or transportation because you redirected your taxes.
True.
So that's
But
the bottom.
remember the multiplier effect, okay? I can't get the multiplier effect with what you're saying. In other words, what you're saying is you're just taking money that came into the government and you're earmarking it for a particular use.
Although
This
the
gets
multiplier-
back to your idea of Roosevelt, okay? What was the WPA? It was getting people back to work for public projects. That's what this idea does. It gets people back to work.
But the other ways to do the same thing in different areas. So I'm not, these are just parts of it. You're gonna have to really figure that out.
Yeah, well, as I said, I really want to be funding gaps. I want to take your idea, let's say your idea is fine, but it's short $10 million. That's where I want to give that $10 million that doesn't need a return. And when it doesn't need a return, as long as we can do an economic model that shows the loss of the tax revenue actually helps your education, and helps your defense, and helps your all of those other areas because of the multiplier. And if you don't buy into the multiplier, then you're not going to give the money. And they're not going to legislate to allow it unless they believe in the multiplier. Multiplier is really powerful.
I want to know what was being cut.
Nothing's being cut. Nothing's being cut because what ends up happening is if the model says that the dollar you put into the NRF generates $5 of new economic activity, and instead of losing $1 in tax revenue, you get $2 back because of the extra $5 of economic activity through new jobs and new projects.
But I guess what you're saying is if you did it in college funding, then there's a multiplier effect associated with that too. You're just saying there are other ways this money
You're
could
taking
be
it away
spent.
from transportation, so now they're not fixing roads. These are just,
Yeah, I hear
and
you.
those are multiplier
Yeah.
effects too, there's lots of.
Yeah, right. But I just think, given what the history is, that very little's been done in this area. If you appeal to an individual or a company's perception that this is money that would have gone to the government anyway, and also you have to understand, maybe you think that the allocation of funds at the government level is fine, maybe somebody doesn't think it's fine. That's what I'm trying to get to, is that I don't necessarily want this in the hands of government. I want it in the hands of government overseeing real experts in an area and not necessarily a bureaucratic thing. A little more like, you can put up a barrier in the Chesapeake Bay, but if you destroy all the fish, there's a problem. So I would like to have that dialogue between professionals that know that about ecology. Well, now that could be done at the government level as well. But I'm just saying, I think this will jumpstart it more than just moving it in the direction of, okay, we're going to allocate money for resilience.
Okay, it's so getting to be about 1:30. Are there any other sort of final burning questions that anyone wanted to raise? And then we can come to a close and people can be hearing here in person. So I guess everyone's okay then?
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much.
That's all right. I
I'm
like.
trying to get it.
No, actually,
That's good, though, because
I
he's
like
trying
when
to-
you
yeah.
grill me because I'm not really looking for you to guess me. I'm really looking for you to challenge me.